Is your prostate stealing your sleep? Is it also stealing your manhood? That nightly trip to the bathroom, that frustratingly weak stream, is more than just an inconvenience. It's the first domino to fall in a devastating chain reaction that is quietly crippling your masculinity from the inside out. This isn't just about urine. This is about your energy, your confidence, and your ability to feel like the powerful man you know you are. It's about the intimacy you fear, the vitality you miss, and the quiet frustration that builds with every night of broken rest. This is a silent thief, and tonight we are going to expose it and show you how to take back what it has stolen from you. I am Dr. Valeria Alcantara, and for over 2 decades I have dedicated my practice to helping men just like you navigate the complex challenges that come after 60. I've listened to your stories, your fears, and your hopes in the quiet confidence of my office, and I've seen firsthand how a physical issue, like an enlarged prostate, can erode a man's very soul. I've seen men from all over the world reclaim their power, which is why I know this message is so important. Let me know which city you're watching from in the comments below. It's powerful to see this community of men coming together. And if you believe it's never too late to fight for your health, please like this video and subscribe to join our movement. Let's be clear, ignoring this will not make it go away. An enlarged prostate is a silent saboteur of your virility. Think of it this way. The engine of your masculinity runs on a very specific high-octane fuel called deep restorative sleep. It's during those precious hours of uninterrupted rest that your body produces the testosterone that powers your energy, your drive, and your erections. But when your prostate forces you awake 2, 3, or even 4 times a night, it's like pouring water into your fuel tank. Every single night it contaminates that essential fuel, choking your power, slowing you down, and leaving your engine sputtering, unable to perform when you need it most. This nightly sabotage creates a downward spiral that becomes harder to escape with each passing week. The lack of deep sleep causes your testosterone levels to plummet. That hormonal crash leads to chronic fatigue, a low libido, and erections that are less firm or simply non-existent. This physical failure then breeds emotional despair, frustration with your own body, anxiety before intimacy, and a profound sense of shame that can make you feel like less of a man. This is not an inevitable part of aging. It is a direct consequence of a problem we can address, and the solution begins with understanding that you have the power to reignite that inner flame. Stay with me, because your journey back to feeling truly alive starts now. Let me tell you about a man I'll call John. At 68, a widower for 5 years, he was a vibrant, intelligent man who still had so much life to give. He'd joined a local walking club and even met a wonderful woman he enjoyed spending time with, but he actively sabotaged any chance of the relationship deepening. He would never accept an invitation to stay the night, always making an excuse to go home. He lived in quiet terror, not of intimacy itself, but of the shame of having to get up 3, sometimes 4, times during the night. The thought of explaining his constant bathroom trips was more than his dignity could bear, so he chose loneliness instead. John's story is not one of a lack of desire, but of a loss of confidence rooted in a physical ailment that was chipping away at his very identity as a man. He felt that his body had betrayed him, turning him into someone he didn't recognize, a man governed by his bladder. This feeling of being broken extended far beyond the bedroom. It affected his social life, his travel plans, and his overall sense of freedom. He started to see himself not as a potential partner, but as a burden, a man with a problem. This quiet shame is a poison, and it isolates you, making you believe you are the only one fighting this battle in the dark. For John, every night was a reminder of his perceived failure. He would lie awake after a trip to the bathroom, his mind racing, feeling the frustration build. He longed for the simple dignity of an uninterrupted night's sleep, a fundamental human need that had been stolen from him. This nightly ritual of wakefulness and worry was a constant drain on his vitality, leaving him exhausted and irritable the next day. He was caught in a cycle of physical discomfort, leading to emotional despair, a cycle that felt impossible to break. He was losing the spark that made him feel truly alive, and he didn't know how to get it back. He saw his reflection in the mirror each morning and didn't recognize the tired, anxious man staring back. Where was the confident man who had built a business and raised a family? He felt like a shadow of his former self, and the core of his masculinity felt hollowed out. The prostate, a gland no bigger than a walnut, had managed to hold his entire sense of self hostage. John's fear was that this was his new reality, a slow, inevitable decline into old age, where dignity was the first casualty. But what he didn't realize was that his problem wasn't a life sentence, it was a symptom with a solution. Then there is Mike, 72 and married to his wife Sarah for nearly 50 years. Theirs was a deep and enduring love, but a silent distance had grown between them. Intimacy had become a source of profound anxiety for Mike. It wasn't that he didn't love his wife or desire her, it was the crippling fear of failure. His erections were unreliable, and the constant exhaustion from his nightly bathroom trips left him with no energy, no drive. He felt he was letting her down, that he was no longer the man she had married, and this shame was a wall he built around himself, brick by brick. Mike watched Sarah and saw in his mind a look of disappointment. In reality, she was filled with concern, but his own insecurity twisted his perception. He misinterpreted her worried glances as judgments on his fading virility. He started avoiding her touch, flinching away from affectionate gestures because he feared they would lead to an expectation he couldn't meet. This avoidance hurt her deeply, creating a chasm of misunderstanding. He was so consumed by his own sense of inadequacy that he couldn't see he was pushing away the one person who wanted to support him, transforming a shared bed into a lonely island. The physical reality for Mike was a direct result of his prostate-induced sleep deprivation. His body was simply not getting the chance to perform its essential nightly maintenance. Testosterone, the very hormone that fuels a man's libido and erectile function, is produced in peak quantities during the deep restorative stages of sleep. Because Mike was waking up every 2 hours, his hormonal factory was constantly being shut down mid-production. He wasn't just tired, his entire system was running on empty, and his sexual health was paying the ultimate price for this nightly sabotage. His manhood was being systematically dismantled, one sleepless night at a time. He began to feel like a ghost in his own marriage, present in body but absent in spirit. The joy and spontaneity were gone, replaced by a carefully managed routine designed to avoid any situation that might expose his vulnerability. This loss of connection was, in many ways, more painful than the physical symptoms themselves. A man's virility is deeply connected to his sense of being a protector, a partner, a lover. When that is compromised, it can feel as though the very foundation of his identity has crumbled, leaving him feeling adrift and utterly alone, even when lying next to the person he loves most. These stories of John and Mike are not unique. They represent the silent struggle of millions of men who believe their declining vitality is just an unavoidable part of getting older. They suffer in silence, too ashamed to speak to their partners, their friends, or even their doctors about what they are truly experiencing. They accept a life of diminished energy, fading confidence, and lost intimacy because they believe there is no other way. This isolation is the prostate's most powerful weapon, convincing you that your battle is yours alone to fight, a private shame to be hidden from the world. This sense of being fundamentally less of a man is a devastating emotional burden. It's a feeling that your body is betraying the spirit within, the powerful, capable man you have always known yourself to be. The constant need to plan your day around bathroom access, the fear of an accident, the anxiety before a social event, it all amounts to a loss of personal freedom and dignity. You begin to shrink your world, avoiding situations that might lead to embarrassment, and in doing so you slowly suffocate the vibrant, confident man you once were. This is not just a health issue, it's an attack on your soul. The truth is, your body is an interconnected system. The problem that starts in the prostate doesn't stay in the prostate. It radiates outward, impacting your sleep, which in turn crashes your hormones, which then devastates your energy and sexual function. This cascade effect is predictable, and it is relentless. Ignoring the initial signal, those frequent nightly trips to the bathroom, is like ignoring the check engine light on your car. You might be able to keep driving for a while, but eventually, the entire system will break down, leaving you stranded on the side of the road. But I am here today to tell you that you do not have to accept this fate. This is not the end of the road. It is a sign, a clear signal from your body that it's time to take new action, to intervene in this destructive cycle and reclaim what has been taken from you. The power to change this narrative is within your grasp. Understanding the why behind your struggle is the first step. The next step is understanding the how this small gland can have such a profound impact, and more importantly, how you can begin to soothe it and reverse its effects. Let's look at the science in a simple way. Imagine your urethra, the tube through which urine leaves your body, is a perfectly clear garden hose. In a healthy man, the flow is strong and steady. But as we age, the prostate gland, which surrounds this hose like a donut, can begin to enlarge. This condition is known as benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. Think of this enlarged prostate as a clamp slowly tightening around the hose. It constricts the flow, which is why you experience that weak, frustrating stream and the feeling that you never fully empty your bladder. This mechanical pressure is the direct cause of your nightly ordeal. Because your bladder isn't emptying completely each time, it fills up much faster. Your body's internal alarm system, designed to protect your kidneys, has no choice but to wake you up again and again, demanding that you relieve the pressure. This is what we call nocturia. It's not a sign of a weak will or a faulty bladder. It's a direct physical consequence of that clamp on the hose. Your body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do in response to a blockage, but it's doing so at a tremendous cost to your overall health. The most devastating cost of this nocturia is the destruction of your sleep architecture. Deep, restorative sleep, particularly REM sleep, is not a luxury. It is a biological necessity. It is during these precise cycles that your body repairs tissue, consolidates memories, and, crucially for our discussion, manufactures the majority of your daily testosterone. When you are forced awake every 90 minutes to 2 hours, you are constantly being pulled out of these vital production cycles. The assembly line for your masculine energy is shut down before it can even get started, night after night. This isn't just a theory, it's proven science. Studies from leading institutions, including Harvard, have shown a direct and dramatic link between sleep deprivation and plummeting testosterone levels. A week of poor sleep can reduce a man's testosterone by the equivalent of aging him 10 to 15 years. So when you feel that crushing fatigue, that lack of motivation, and that disappearing libido, understand that it is not your fault. It is a direct hormonal consequence of your prostate stealing your sleep. You are quite literally being robbed of the very fuel of your masculinity. Now let's talk about the erection itself. For a firm, lasting erection to occur, your body needs a critical molecule called nitric oxide. Think of nitric oxide as the master switch for blood flow. When you are aroused, your brain sends a signal and your body releases nitric oxide into the blood vessels of the penis. This tells the smooth muscles to relax, allowing blood to rush in and create a firm erection. It's a beautifully precise system, a delicate dance of chemistry and biology that relies on a healthy, responsive circulatory system. However, the same conditions that are tanking your testosterone, chronic inflammation from an irritated prostate, and systemic fatigue from lack of sleep, also inhibit your body's ability to produce and utilize nitric oxide effectively. The inflammation creates a hostile environment for this delicate process, and the lack of restorative sleep means your entire circulatory system is sluggish and underperforming. Your body is simply too exhausted and inflamed to flip that master switch with the power and speed it once did. The desire might be there in your mind, but the physical mechanism is offline. This explains why erections become less firm, less reliable, or fail to happen at all. It's not a psychological failure on your part. It's a physiological breakdown. Your body lacks the hormonal fuel, testosterone, to ignite the desire, and lacks the chemical spark, nitric oxide, to complete the physical reaction. Each time this happens, it reinforces the narrative of failure, creating a vicious cycle of physical inability and psychological anxiety. You begin to fear intimacy, anticipating the failure before it even happens, which only makes the problem worse as stress further constricts blood vessels. So, we have a clear chain of events. An enlarged prostate leads to poor sleep, which leads to low testosterone and high inflammation, which in turn leads to poor nitric oxide function and ultimately erectile dysfunction. Seeing it laid out like this should not be a cause for despair, but for hope. Why? Because it shows us that this isn't some mysterious curse of aging. It's a chain reaction, and every chain has a weak link. By targeting the root cause, the inflammation and irritation of the prostate, we can break the chain and reverse the entire process. This is where your power lies. You can intervene. The journey back to vitality begins not with a magic pill, but with a simple, consistent ritual, a conscious decision to give your body the tools it needs to heal itself. We are going to focus on a 3-step nightly ritual designed to soothe the prostate, restore your sleep, and reignite the engine of your masculinity. This is about taking back control one night at a time, and it starts with something incredibly simple and profoundly effective: a powerful herbal infusion. The first and most crucial step of this nightly ritual is a specific anti-inflammatory tea. I want you to think of this infusion as a calming balm for your insides. Certain herbs like saw palmetto and nettle root have been studied for their remarkable ability to gently reduce prostate inflammation. This isn't a magical potion, it's natural science at work. These plants contain compounds that help soothe the irritated tissue, effectively loosening that clamp on your urethra. It's a natural, gentle way to address the root of the problem. By making a warm cup of this type of tea a non-negotiable part of your evening routine, about 2 hours before bed, you are sending a clear message to your body. You are providing it with the natural agents it needs to begin the healing process while you sleep. This simple act of self-care is the first domino you push in the opposite direction. As the inflammation subsides over time, the pressure on your urethra lessens. This means you'll be able to empty your bladder more completely, leading to fewer and fewer interruptions during the night. This is not an overnight fix, but a steady, progressive journey back to health. Consistency is the key. Each night you drink the tea, you are investing in your future vitality. You are actively working to reclaim your deep, restorative sleep. Imagine, in just a few weeks, sleeping for 4, then 5, then even 6 uninterrupted hours. Imagine the profound effect that will have on your energy levels, your mood, and your body's ability to finally restart that testosterone factory. This single habit is the foundation upon which your entire recovery will be built. The second step in our nightly ritual is a supporting habit, gaining conscious control over your pelvic floor. This involves 2 simple practices. First, cut off all liquids at least 2 hours before you intend to go to sleep. This gives your body ample time to process fluids and allows you to fully empty your bladder before lying down, giving you a head start on a peaceful night. This is a small, easy adjustment that pays massive dividends in reducing the frequency of nighttime awakenings and giving your prostate a much-needed rest. Alongside this, I want you to learn a simple exercise, Kegels for men. These are not just for women. By clenching and releasing the same muscles you use to stop the flow of urine, you are strengthening the entire pelvic floor. This does 2 incredible things. First, it gives you better muscular control over your bladder, reducing urgency and leakage. Second, and just as importantly, it actively improves blood circulation to the entire pelvic region, nourishing the nerves and tissues that are essential for strong, healthy erections. Think of it as waking up a dormant support system. Performing a few sets of these exercises discreetly throughout the day, or as part of your evening routine, is like sending reinforcements to the front line of your battle for virility. It is a proactive step that puts you back in the driver's seat of your own body. This practice helps restore your physical confidence and provides a tangible sense of control, counteracting the feeling of helplessness that so often accompanies prostate issues. You are no longer a passive victim of your symptoms. You are an active participant in your own healing, strengthening your foundation from the inside out. The third and final step of our ritual embraces a fundamental biological principle: use it or lose it. Your sexual health is not separate from your overall health. It is an integral part of it. The circulatory system that powers your erections is like a network of pathways. Regular sexual activity, whether with a partner or solo, keeps these pathways open, flexible, and responsive. It is a form of physical therapy for your entire pelvic region, ensuring that blood can flow powerfully and efficiently when called upon. This is not about pressure to perform. It is about reframing sexual expression as a vital act of health maintenance. By engaging in regular self-stimulation, you are actively encouraging blood flow, keeping the delicate mechanisms of erectile function well-oiled and ready. This practice helps to break the psychological cycle of fear and avoidance. It re-establishes a positive, healthy connection with your own body and rebuilds your confidence in a private, pressure-free environment. It is a declaration that your sexuality is a part of you that deserves to be nurtured and kept alive. Embracing this principle is a powerful act of defiance against the notion that your sexual life is over. It is a commitment to your own vitality. By combining the soothing herbal infusion, the supportive habits of fluid management and pelvic exercises, and the revitalizing principle of use it or lose it, you are creating a comprehensive strategy for reclaiming your manhood. You are not just treating a symptom, you are restoring an entire system. You are telling your body and yourself that you are still a vibrant, powerful, and complete man. This nightly ritual is more than just a series of steps. It is a profound act of reclaiming your dignity. It is a decision to stop being a passive observer of your own decline and to become the architect of your renewal. Each evening, as you prepare your tea and take a few moments for your exercises, you are investing in the man you want to be tomorrow. A man who wakes up rested, full of energy, and confident in his own skin. You are taking the stolen nights back, and with them you are taking back your life. The journey may begin with a focus on soothing your prostate, but you will quickly discover that its effects ripple outward, touching every aspect of your existence. Better sleep will bring mental clarity and a more positive outlook. Increased testosterone will restore your drive and your physical strength. Improved circulation will benefit not only your erections, but your heart and brain as well. This is not just about fixing a plumbing problem. It is a holistic path to becoming a more robust, resilient, and fully alive version of yourself. Imagine the freedom of a full night's sleep. Imagine waking up with a natural surge of morning energy, feeling that familiar spark of vitality you thought was lost forever. Imagine looking at your partner with confidence and desire, free from the shadow of fear and anxiety. This is not a fantasy. This is the tangible promise of taking consistent, intelligent action. This is the transformation that awaits when you decide to stop accepting your symptoms and start addressing their root cause with commitment and hope. Think back to John, choosing loneliness over the risk of shame. This ritual offers him a path back to connection, a way to reclaim the dignity he felt was lost, allowing him to open his heart to a new relationship without fear. And think of Mike, lost in a sea of misunderstanding with his wife. This journey offers him a way to tear down the wall he built, to restore not just the physical intimacy, but the emotional closeness that had been eroded by his silent struggle. This is about restoring relationships as much as it is about restoring erections. The power to initiate this change is entirely in your hands. It does not require expensive equipment or drastic measures. It requires a decision, a commitment to your own well-being, and the consistency to follow through. The man you were is not gone. He has simply been starved of the essential resources he needs to thrive. Your task now is to provide those resources, to soothe the inflammation, to restore the sleep, and to reawaken the dormant systems that define your masculine vitality. Let this be the moment you draw a line in the sand. The frustration, the shame, and the quiet despair can end here. You are not defined by your symptoms. You are a man with a rich history, a deep well of strength, and a future that is still unwritten. The next chapter does not have to be one of quiet resignation. It can be a story of resurgence, of reclaiming your power, and of rediscovering the profound joy of feeling truly, completely, and unapologetically alive in your own body once more. Taking back control of your prostate health is about so much more than simply peeing better or sleeping through the night. It is about reclaiming the very essence of who you are as a man. It's about silencing the voice of doubt that whispers you are fading, that your best years are behind you. By embracing this nightly ritual, you are not just soothing an inflamed gland. You are making a profound declaration that you refuse to surrender your vitality. You are choosing to reignite that inner spark, to feel the surge of powerful energy in the morning, and to meet your partner's gaze with unwavering confidence. This journey is about restoring your dignity, rebuilding your self-worth, and proving to yourself that the vibrant, strong man you have always been is still there, ready to be reawakened. Think of the flame of your masculinity. Over the years, the frustrations of poor sleep and declining health may have felt like a relentless wind, causing it to flicker and dim. You may have started to believe it was destined to go out. But that flame never truly dies. It simply becomes starved of the oxygen it needs to burn brightly. The restorative sleep you will reclaim is that oxygen. The nourishing herbs are the fuel. This simple, consistent ritual is you, consciously cupping your hands around that flicker, protecting it, and feeding it until it roars back to life, casting a warm, powerful glow over every aspect of your world, reminding you of the potent force you still possess. Your manhood does not have an expiration date, and your virility is not a relic of the past. It is a vital part of your health, your identity, and your joy for living that deserves to be fought for at every stage of life. Let go of the shame and the silence that have held you captive. Your body is not your enemy. It is your lifelong partner, and it is sending you a clear signal to intervene, to care for it, and to guide it back to balance. Taking these steps is the ultimate act of self-respect. It is a commitment to living a life of strength, passion, and purpose, refusing to accept a diminished existence, and instead choosing to stand tall, fully in command of your health and your destiny. If this message has stirred something within you, do not let that feeling fade. You are part of a silent brotherhood, and your story can be a beacon for others. Share this video with a friend, a brother, or any man in your life who you suspect is fighting this battle alone. Subscribe and join our community of men who are choosing to fight back, to reclaim their power. And now I want you to commit to your own future. Write in the comments below, what is the first thing you will do when you wake up with that renewed energy and unshakable confidence? We read every single answer, and we are here to walk this path with you. Welcome to your resurgence.